In this video, we'll see how to connect to the database. This is a piece of code that is very much required to attain the connection. As you can see, this is a user return function, user return method, which we are going to place it in the DB part. I'll be showing that later. First, we'll understand what are all different things that are given here. It is taking two parameters. One is the MySQL user ID. In my case, it is root, and the second one is the password with which user is going to connect to their to their database. So these two are passed from the main program. One is user ID, other one is a password. The database server is hosted in the localhost, that is 127.0.1. As shown in the last video, the database project name is my project. Then, to connect, we have to form a URL string. So, it follows like this. The main protocol is JDBC, sub protocol is MySQL. Here, if we are using some other package, then this part changes. Colon, slash, slash, then host name. That has to be concatenated. String, string, plus is for concatenation. This is concatenated with the port number. The MySQL is running in the port 3306, which is a standard one. Okay, 3306. Then, which database you are going to access? The database which I am going to access here is my project. Then, there are some cases where may not be possible to connect, so it will go on try. When the number of attempts reached, it gives error message if unable to connect. So use this string part, that is auto reconnect equal to true. The purpose of this tag is to allow MySQL to check again to reconnect if it is unable to connect it. Then SSL certificate is not need to verify, so you can set it to false. If everything is proper, you are going to return connection object, which is a virtual database with which you are going to perform all the operations. So in the previous one, created one connection reference variable, setting that to null, con equal to null. Then you have to call get connection function in the class driver manager. This is available in the library, that package MySQL dot package. It is available in the SQL package. Java.sql. This is available. Driver manager dot get connection of. You have to pass the first parameter, that is URL. The second is user ID, and the third one is the password. These are the three information to be passed. URL part already we formed, user ID from the main program, password from the main program. In almost all the database applications, we have to handle SQL exception. There might be some errors when you are unable to execute, unable to open the database, unable to edit the commands. It will end up with an exception, that is SQL exception. When you are unable to obtain the connection, can return null object con equal to null. Otherwise, connection will be attained, that you can return it. So this is a piece of code that you can copy when you are developing. That get connection, it's a user return get connection. Don't get confused. This is the library which is available in driver manager.get connection. This is my own code. Otherwise, you can have different name for that particular method. I'm going to call it in the main program. It is going to, this function is, this method is going to return the connection object. So I have to store connection equal to db part dot get connection of. Username is root and the password is xyz. If the connection object is not null, that means successfully connected, that message can be displayed. If connection object is null, that means you're unable to connect to the database. Right click over the project, run. If everything is proper, you'll get this message. Suppose username is wrong, database is wrong, password is wrong, or IP address is wrong, you'll get the error message, customized error message, or trace that can also be displayed. I'll show how to run that program in NetBeans. In the last video, I told about this part. So we have put that to DB part, let it be. Now I have to add one more method, that is get connection, which is returning connection object. It is taking two parameters ID and password. ID and password from the main program. Then host is running at IP address 127.0.1. Database is my project. The URL has to be formed by concatenating the main protocol, sub protocol, project, the database name, port number, host, all this has to be concatenated. Then you have to pass URL, user ID, password to the get connection object, which is under driver manager class. If everything are proper, like username, password, IP address, database name, everything is proper, returns connection object on which you are going to perform the operations, manipulating the tables, adding data, retrieving data, querying the database. All those things you are going to do on this particular connection object that you are returning. Suppose there is a problem like invalid username, invalid database, IP address is wrong, password is wrong. So just return null object. Coming to the main part, these two I don't want, so I commented. I'm going to call user defined that get connection function by passing root and password. If it is not null, it means successfully connected. Otherwise, error message. Run the file, checks drivers, the connection, all the things like password, username, IP address, and database. All these are proper, so successfully connected. What I will do, I will change the password to something else. We'll check whether it opens a connection or not. Change my password here. Instead of factory password, I give wrong password. So this is the error message. So one possibility, if password is having a problem, I will change the username also. Instead of root, give root one. Again, it gives error message. If database is also problem, database name is also problem, then also it gives error message. Database itself is problem. This one. Then also it gives error message because you are unable to connect to the database. This particular database is not there. gives the error message. So these are the different possibilities. Can be IP address is a mistake, username is wrong, password is invalid, IP address is also wrong. In such cases, gives the error message. Okay, these are the things for the time. For this, in this video, we covered how to connect to the database. What if any one of the information is wrong? In the next video, we'll see how to add controls to the project, like how to create a simple user interface. Thank you.